What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls pod coming up for y'all right around the corner. On today's show, pluses and minuses from the Bulls win over the Hawks last night to get to 3-0 on the season. Is Billy Donovan and his coaching a big reason for their early season success? Is he this team's X factor? Plus, encouraging words from Dosunmu and Josh Giddey after last night's win about how this Bulls backcourt with lots of options are all working together. Next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck_Peck. That's Big Dave. Bam! BNWL Sports. Willie Gottlieb. And King of the Controls, Joey C. What up, Joe? Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, Bulls Nation. It's a victory Tuesday because the Bulls won last night. CHGO Bulls presented by Michelob Ultra and Bet365. The delicious taste of victory deserves something equally superior. Cheer on your team with Michelob Ultra and download the Bet365 app. Use promo code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Hope everybody had a great end to their Monday night, enjoying that Bulls W. That's 3-0.
Yes.
For the record.
Yo.
Bulls are going to try to get to 4-0 tomorrow night when our old pals Zachary Attackery and DeMar DeRozan come to town with the Sacramento Kings / Bulls West. I'm excited. I'm excited for that matchup. I'm excited to see Zach and DeMar back in the building.
Oh, my goodness, man.
It should be a good time.
And I can't wait to see Zach get the love and the praise that he so richly deserves for his time here with the Chicago Bulls, man. We'll get into it.
So was Kings at Bulls already on the games played list by the time that he got traded last year? Did he not come back?
No, they played pretty soon after the trade in Sacramento.
In Sacramento, okay,
so he has not returned here.
This is his return game to the United Center.
Yes, man, get that montage ready. Get your love ready for Zach.
Tune in at the first time out.
Man, yes, because it's
something
coming.
Playing on the Jumbotron.
The tribute video.
He deserves it.
Truly.
He deserves all of it.
I mean,
we'll get into it on pregame for sure, but
without
he deserves all of it.
Meanwhile, Beef Dip in the comments saying Bulls look beefy.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one way to describe their 3-0 start.
Okay.
They're playing some more physical brand of basketball, but they're also still playing real fast. We saw that last night. My God, the pace of that fourth quarter against the Hawks last night was wild.
Yeah, it was.
Back and forth action, back and forth buckets. Bulls got just enough stops to secure that win and just enough made buckets. So with that, let's dive into our pluses and minuses from last night's game. There's a lot to like, but there are also, of course, always things to nitpick and things we want them to see do better.
Okay.
Who wants to start us off? Me?
Of course.
Am I starting?
But of course.
All right. My plus from last night, and also just kind of over these first three games as a whole, ball movement. With a team that is lacking a clearly defined go-to scorer, a star-level offensive weapon in your offense, the Bulls are leaning heavily on, we got a lot of sets that are geared towards getting certain guys open, moving off the ball, setting good screens for each other, and always keeping the ball moving. They had 33 team assists last night on their 48 made field goals. You love that. Love to see that.
It is.
And it was, especially in the fourth quarter of a tight game, where they're like, going blow for blow with the Atlanta Hawks, who also had some elite offensive, sets down the stretch of that game, getting guys open, picking the Bulls' defense apart at times. The Bulls, you can literally list everybody that played last night having a hand in a big bucket the Bulls needed in that close game. Ayo hitting big shots. Josh Giddey hitting big shots. Vooch, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones. Everybody who was on the floor was making a positive impact on the offensive end because the ball kept moving.
Yeah, and it's something that we've seen these, like you say, these first three games for sure. Like, even in that fourth quarter, that ball movement didn't stop. Like, they're not stagnant. Even in their half court, they haven't been stagnant. Like, when Trey Jones is, trying to get everybody set up, once he does, that ball gets whipped around and it gets moving and everybody gets to touch it. And the ball has energy. As you'll ask any NBA player, they'll tell you that. The ball has energy. So it's great when it moves around and everybody gets a crack at it. And they don't care who is the one that is scoring or who's the one that is finishing, just as long as it's finished. And even if it doesn't, the boards are being crashed immediately. So, yeah, man, like that ball movement has been key, absolutely key for the Chicago Bulls. You're absolutely right, sir.
And, I mean, as you guys have said, they really need it. Like, they don't have anybody that can really break down off defenses. And if you get bogged down, that's where they're at their worst, I think. So you saw there was a possession last night where Giddey had to, like, create something out of nothing. He got the pass with, like, 4 seconds on the shot clock, and it was an air ball or a bad miss. I don't remember exactly the
hook shot.
The hook shot. But it was just like, those are the situations where you can see the Bulls are flawed and that there is a talent gap between them and their opponent. The Hawks have, like, better players on paper, but the Bulls are able to win because of the ball movement and the way that they are trying to play and that really putting pressure on teams. So I think that's a great one. I think it's something the Bulls are going to need to remain consistent in all year, because as soon as they get to a point where they're, like, feeling good about themselves, that's when you start to, like, rest on your laurels a little bit. And that needs to be, like, the number one emphasis. I'm sure it is, but, like, that to me is one thing that I'll be looking out for is, like, can this sustain both in terms of the ball movement, the player movement, and just the pace.
And shout out to our pal Ricky O'Donnell. Does a great job covering the NBA and college hoops for SB Nation. He had a great column earlier today about what is real about this Bulls 3-0 start. And he had some great numbers on this very equal opportunity Bulls offense. Okay. How about this? The Bulls so far, number 3 in the league in passes made, number 2 in the league in assist rate, number 3 in shortest average time per touch, number 1 in drives. They are also passing out of drives 45.3% of the time, trailing only the Golden State Warriors.
Wow.
Not a single Bulls player is in the league's top 35 in usage percentage.
Wow.
The Bulls are 3 in the NBA in passes made. Nobody is skyrocketing with their usage percentage. That is a offense by committee.
Yes.
It seems by design for Billy Donovan, and the Bulls are doing it not just by design, but in execution in these first 3 games.
Dude, it's Gene Hackman and Hoosiers. Like, that's what this is. Like, they are moving the ball. They don't care. It's faceless offense, and that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's bad. Faceless offense is good, especially when it can work. And having, just those ball handlers on the floor who can get that ball movement for those guys. So, and even when you got Vooch on the floor, who has always been a really good passer, and even when you got Modest on the floor, who's a ball handler and a solid passer, like, yeah, you're playing to the strengths of the guys of what they do out there as far as their facilitation. So, yeah, kudos to Billy Donovan for queuing that up like that.
And just another quick shout out to our guy Steph No, who did a great, just like quick film breakdown on one of the after timeout plays that Billy drew up last night.
That was great.
Just kind of showing exactly that, of like how quickly the ball is moving, how quickly they're getting into screens, how quickly they're cutting out of screens, and how executing that in a really timely way is helping open up some shots that usually teams would rely on somebody who's really good at generating space to get their own shot. The Bulls are doing it by committee.
And so to turn to my minus from last night, something to nitpick, as the Bulls are doing this by committee offense and doing it at one of the league's fastest paces, which you love to see, with that does come turnovers. And part of the turnover problem is the other thing that Billy Donovan has been harping on since day one in training camp and at media day, valuing winning the possession battle against their opponent every night. It's hard to do that if you turn the ball over a lot. And last night was the third, and all 3 have been the Bulls losing the field goal attempts battle. They took 10 fewer field goal attempts against Detroit in game 1. They took, 4 fewer field goal attempts than Orlando, and they took 6 fewer field goal attempts than the Hawks last night. So they have yet to play a single game where they take more field goal attempts. And sure, part of that is like, dude, they went to work at the free throw line, especially against the Pistons, which you love to see. If you can, add that to an efficient offense, that's great.
Sure.
But Billy's been harping on winning the possession battle, and they haven't done it yet. So that's my nitpick from last night.
I think that's a great one. And I think it's really the stat that Billy has talked most about with the media of just like, we are not going to be able to win games if we are giving up 4 or 5 or 7 more shot attempts per game than our opponents. The ways to do that, obviously cut down on the turnovers, add more possessions with offensive rebounding. And, the true shooting attempts would include also trips to the free throw line. Those have been relatively even. Last night it was 21 for the Bulls, 20 for the Hawks. The night before that it was 29 attempts for the Bulls, 33 for the Magic. So I do think they need to be better there, but that was one of the things that Giddey said after the game was like, we're playing really well, but like there's some key areas where we can be better. And so he was very excited by that. And I think those are exactly the ones. So it's impressive that they've been able to win despite the field goal differential.
Yeah, it's like you say, you want more bites at the apple, and you want to give them that.
Love a good apple.
Yeah, let's get to my plus minus for the Chicago Bulls, who are 3-0. How are they 3-0? Chicago. Rebounding is definitely my plus. That is absolutely stood out to me for the Bulls. And the reason it stood out to me is because of the opponents that they've gone up against. These are rebounding teams that they are going up against, especially the Detroit Pistons. When you have Jalen Duren out there and you have Cade Cunningham out there, Beef Stew out there, like they're a long team and they're a physical team. And the Bulls absolutely out-rebounded them 50-46 in that game. Against Orlando, they lost the rebounding battle 53-46, but that was mainly because of offensive rebounds, where they lost 15-9. Because on defensive rebounds, they lost that by 38-37. So still being in the thick of that with that kind of team who still has that kind of size and physicality was impressive to me. And then it was just really super impressive to me last game against the Hawks. Bulls won that rebounding battle 51-36. They absolutely dominated those guys on the glass, man. So it goes kudos just to the team and the committee, but definitely Vooch, who has always been on the glass.
He had 17 last night?
Come on, man. That's what he does, bro.
Jeez.
Like, he's going to do that. And Josh Giddey, and then just all the rest of the team that is going around and getting these rebounds for the squad.
And just to take that back to Matt's point about the field goal differential, defensive rebounding is such a key there, because if you're giving up offensive rebounds, those are extra possessions. And oftentimes they're really efficient ones because you're getting a putback right at the rim or a kick out to an open three-point shooter. So Vooch, defensive rebounding, Giddey, defensive rebounding, Patrick has been better, Modest has been better. Like, all those guys are doing a really good job of closing out possessions. And that's something that, like, I in the past would not have thought was as big of a deal as I do now, just based on the way that they talk about it. I think it's a huge key for the Bulls to help reduce the field goal attempts differential, which is what Matt was talking about.
Completely agree with that. And for me, my negative was the free throw percentage. You talked about, Matt, them getting to the line, which is great. The attempts have been great, the amount of attempts that they're getting there, but I've not been a fan of what's been happening when they got there. Now, the first game, 81%, I'll take it. Game 2, 75. Yesterday's game against the Hawks, 76. They have to raise that percentage. That puts them at number 16 in the league right now, and that's middle of the pack. I'd like that to be a little bit higher, especially for a 3-0 team that's going to need everything around them if they're not going to have that kind of superstar player. We talked about how important it is getting to the free throw line. Well, hitting those free throws is also equally as important, especially for this team, man. So I love the attempts. They're getting, way over 25 attempts a game at the free throw line, but they've got to start sinking those and put themselves in the 80th percentile when they do that.
It's a game of margins, right? And so, like, they're drawing fouls. I think the drives number that you talked about, getting into the paint, creating those breakdowns, that's huge, and that allows you to get to the free throw line. You have to convert. This is not a team that's going to be scoring a bunch. I mean, last night I was just looking at some of these stats. Points on long twos, the Hawks had 10, the Bulls had 0. So, like, they're playing the math game in a really efficient way. But when you're giving up those points at the line, like, you got to be able to convert those. And so I think that's a really key one.
It depends on the team, depends on who's on that team, and whether or not getting to the free throw line and knocking them down is the strength of that team. But you mentioned the Bulls being middle of the pack with that 78%, Dave. If they manage to improve that from 78 to, say, 83% as a team, that would put them around 6th or 7th in the NBA right now. So, again, small sample size for everybody, but
that's a huge deal.
Those points are quite literally free.
Yeah. Free tastes better.
All right, Goat, what do you got?
Break?
Should we? Yeah, maybe let's do it on the other side.
You want to do? Okay,
yeah.
we'll knock out an ad break, then we'll get to Goats plus minus on the other side of the break. Start talking to Billy Donovan and this awesome bevy of guards that are working well for Billy through their games so far. Hit the like. Today's show brought to you by Bet365. We are in the thick of football season, and with the Bet365 early payout offer, you are a winner if your team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So download the Bet365 app and be sure to use promo code CHGO365 when you do, because When you do that and make your first $5 bet, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets when you make that first $5 bet. Win or lose the bet, don't matter. You're getting the $200 in bonus bets either way. Thursday Night Football, $10 safety net bet offers. Sunday Night Football, $365,000 jackpot going on this season. Get in on it. Plus, of course, Monday Night Football, 50% super profit boost token on same game parlays. What are you waiting for? Download that Bet365 app. Use promo code CHGO365 when you do to take advantage of that $200 bonus bets offer. Must be 21 and older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Chicago Sports Network is the official TV and streaming home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, broadcasting over 300 live games per year. CHSN offers the All Access plan, which is $29.99 a month. That gives you access to all games and programming on the network, and individual team plans, $19.99 a month. That gives you access to the games of the teams that you select. You can sign up to watch CHSN at chsn.com, or you can watch via CHSN app, which can be downloaded on Apple and Android devices, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and Samsung TV. CHSN is also available on Xfinity, DirecTV, DirecTV Stream, and Fubo. Visit chsn.com for more details.
We back. CHGO Bulls rolling along Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for being here with us, Bulls Nation. Hit that like button if you didn't do it during the ad break. As we continue with our plus and minuses from last night's game against the Hawks. Go! Oh, wait, before we get to that.
Let's talk about another kind of goat, sir.
Keep cutting me off.
Number one. What we're doing it for a great reason right now.
True, very true.
Number one, sir. That number one rose in the rafters. It's going down, ladies and gentlemen. January 24th. January 24th. It is going down and going up because Derrick Rose's number is going up in the rafters. It will be retired on that day. The Bulls are playing the whoever what's about it. It doesn't matter. It's the Boston Celtics, but nobody cares, all right? It doesn't matter. They can play anybody they want. We are there for Derrick Rose night, man. It's the official CHGO basketball suite takeover brought to you by Top Shelf. It's going to be in the suite. It's going to be a great time. If you were there last year, you already know how it went down. If you weren't there last year and you had that FOMO, hope you're a diehard because they're going like, no. And guess what? People are buying them on the diehard. So you might want to go ahead and get your purchase on. And if you're not a diehard, you can become one. Listen, for an awesome price, you can become a diehard, get all kinds of cool stuff, and get a discount on that as well. Just a little inside secret for you. So come on and hang out with us, man. January 24th, it's going to be an amazing night. I cannot wait. This young man, Derrick Rose, deserves this, and you deserve to see it live. Come hang out with us. Go.
I just have one more big announcement. Oh, I'm sorry. Go. No, you go ahead. I just want to make him wait a little bit longer.
You got me on that
Make
one.
him wait a little bit longer.
He had that tuck.
Joey's like, so I went
Let's
to
just
my
sit in silence
nutritionist
for a while.
earlier today.
So I tried a caramel macchiato for the first time.
Little on the
Anything else
fence
you guys
about
want to get off
it.
your chest before we get into the plus minus? Here?
Oh, don't ask
Oh
that
yeah,
question.
seriously, man. You know,
I'll
Fast
take
and
that.
Furious.
I'll take that as a no.
So many things.
All right, let's get into mine.
Vin Diesel.
Plus minus. The plus has been the defense. The defense has been awesome, and the numbers back it up. Second overall in defensive rating through the first 3 games, which obviously very small sample size. But you look under the hood a little bit, and there are some pretty compelling numbers. Also, some that give you some questions. So I wanted to run through. Opponents are shooting 48.4 effective field goal percentage. That is the 4th lowest in the entire league. So Bulls are keeping teams from scoring at an efficient rate. The Bulls are not allowing any defensive rebounds. We talked about it with the rebounding. They're 5th in opponent offensive rebound rate in the entire league, which means they're closing out those possessions and reducing the chance that teams are getting those second chance opportunities. And they're 6th in opponent free throw rate, which means that they are not putting their opponents to the line very much. On a game-to-game basis, it may be relatively even, but overall the Bulls are doing a really good job of preventing teams from getting easy points at the line. And those are 3 huge keys to the possession battle that Matt was talking about. The areas where I'm a little unsure would be the 3-point shooting. So opponents are shooting the lowest 3-point percentage in the entire league against the Bulls, 26.6%. That is not very good. But importantly, they're shooting the lowest attempt rate of any team in the league. So Bulls are not giving up a lot of threes, and the ones that they're giving up, teams are shooting very poorly on them. Is that sustainable? Probably not to the degree to which it's going right now, but I do think that has been an emphasis. You look at like the way that some of these teams played, the Magic and the Pistons each only attempted 24 threes against them. Trae Young will not always go 1 for 10 from threes, but they limited Luke Kennard, who's their elite 3-point shooter, to 1 attempt. They limited Desmond Bane to 2 3-point attempts. So those are the kind of things that can help offset the shooting luck. I think there's this idea that like all threes are created equal, and in order to not give up points from 3, you have to not allow your opponents to shoot threes. That's not necessarily the case, and I think the Bulls are doing a really good job of running teams off the line, making them shoot contested threes, keeping them away from the corner, and making them shoot above the break contested threes. So that's kind of their recipe, and I think it's working. They do need to clean up their opponent shots at the rim. They do need to, continue to get better and just make sure that they can, again, 26%, like teams are going to shoot better than that, but like, can they survive that? I don't know. But that has been so far really good. And like I said, they're second overall in defense.
Let me ask you this. Can you say the Bulls are identifying who the best 3-point shooter is on the other team and focusing on them? And I'm asking that question because, everybody shoots a 3. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just what it is. Do you think they're just pointing to one? And I think Orlando was easier to do because they don't shoot a lot of threes. So you say, hey, Desmond Bane's the one, we take him out. But you mentioned even, save big money at Luke Kennard. He's the one, he's a great 3-point shooter now. And you mentioned Trae Young, and we know he's not going to be that bad of a shooter. So I don't think they targeted him because he took 10 threes like that. But would you say that though? Like the Bulls are looking at who the best or the second best 3-point shooter is and kind of targeting them a little bit.
Obviously, like you want to be concerned about the real like fire drill guys, right? Like if you go to the open gym and some guy starts hitting threes, you like, everybody knows he's a shooter. You got to like keep him off the line, run him off the line. I think that's obviously a part of it, but I also think just generally speaking, their defensive philosophy has been to get teams off the line. That's probably what leads to such a high number of rim attempts from opponents, is that they're chasing teams off the line and trying to force them into contested shots outside the restricted area, but like non-paint twos. That's the goal. Can you do that every time? Probably not. But I do think generally speaking, they are doing a good job of that. And that's something that they're going to need to remain consistent on. Matt, you talked about not having any one defensive stopper and needing to do it by committee. That's a big piece of it. Is just everybody sort of closing out hard, getting out to shooters, being crisp in their rotations, and then the next guy filling in the gaps.
And, you talk about chasing guys off the 3-point line. Dave, we touched on that in pregame last night when it came to what's real and what might be luck so far with the Bulls defense. It's not just that they're getting lucky, especially with their opponents missing not only open shots, but wide open shots, but they are among the best in the league so far, small sample size, in limiting 3-point attempts to their opponents, which is a real element of a decent defense. And, obviously the flip of that, which you pointed out, is that they're getting cooked in the paint. But,
But if you're giving up 6 to 10 foot jump shots in the paint with a hand up, like you're going to live with that 100% of the time.
Yeah. And as far as defensive strategy, it's fewer than 3 points?
Tell me.
2 points.
Oh. And what's fewer than both is not getting a shot up. And so, forcing teams away from shooting those shots, you put the ball on the floor, you create more passes, and those are just more opportunities for turnovers. That's the one area that I wanted to point out that the Bulls have not been good in. They're 29th in the league in opponent turnover rate. That's something that they need to get better at. It feels like Trae Jones has gotten like 5 steals every game. Other than that, not a lot there. So that's going to need to be another area where you can help close the gap with the field goal attempt differential that Matt was talking about.
Yes, sir.
All right, so what's your minus, Goat? Explain.
The Eastern Conference just does not look good. And I think this is one way to spin that is like, that's good for the Bulls. It's just like the Pistons were supposed to be a team that takes another step forward. They really did not impress me. I did not think Cade had a very good game. Their 3-point shooting is not very good. Their floor spacing is not very good. Their offense in general, they just had so much, leaning on Dennis Schroeder and Malik Beasley, and neither of those guys are there. And it felt like they couldn't even get a shot off. And I don't think the Bulls are the second best defense in the league, but the Bulls defense looked really good against them.
They really did.
And so that was, something that I would, again, trying to spin it into the Bulls' favor here. So that was one. The Magic, another team that was like a 50-win predicted team. I was super disappointed with the way that they looked. Could not make a three. Could not get any floor spacing. Did not have Jalen Suggs, so maybe he helps them look better. But I think they're 1-2 or 1-3 now. Like they have not been really good either. And then the Hawks, another team that had like an awesome offseason. You're super excited about Porzingis and the floor spacing that he gives you. If you're Trae Young, you've got Jalen Johnson healthy again, making a step forward. Dyson Daniels, $100 million man.
Yeah.
Just like he has not been able to buy a bucket. I think all three of those teams will be better. But all of this goes to show that the East is down in a way that there is like a lot of opportunity. And I think obviously it's only 3 games, it's a long season ahead. But if you're the Bulls, you have to be feeling pretty good about where you stand relative to these other teams, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. That's where the standing is, right? It's not
Winning.
like, are you this juggernaut team that's going to run through everybody? It's like, where do you stand compared to everybody else? And I think the East being down is an opportunity. And I'm curious to see if and how the Bulls can take advantage of that.
Like, who had this as the top 5 in the East? Bulls, 76ers, Cavaliers, Hornets, Heat. Anybody? Bueller? Bueller?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
No.
Crazy, dog. Yeah, the East has been so interesting and wild. And I feel like right now the only known in the East is the Brooklyn Nets. We know the Nets aren't going to be good.
Everyone knows that they will be bad.
Yeah, correct, man.
I think the Cavs too, like 3-1, but then you look beyond the Sixers are 3-0, the Bulls are 3-0, Cavs are 3-1.
Sure.
Then you have the Hornets, the Heat, the Knicks, the Bucks, all 2-1. You have the Pistons 2-2, the Wizards 1-2. Raptors have been really bad so far, 1-3. That was a team that I thought could take a step forward.
I did too.
The Celtics are 1-3. They do not look like a team remotely capable of like competing at a high level right now.
Pacers are winless.
The Pacers are winless.
Ooh,
like
didn't see that coming.
There is opportunity. I do not
They
expect.
also almost beat the Thunder on opening night, or whatever that was.
They did.
The second night.
That was a heck of a game.
But now I guess Mathurin is week to week. Like they're going to be hit hard with injuries because you have guys stepping up from bench roles into starting roles, and you don't have a lot of people that can step into those bench roles now. And so it's just a tough spot for them to be in. But yeah, the Wizards I think will continue to go towards the bottom. I think the Hornets will as well. But there is opportunity here. Even if some of these other teams start to figure it out, I think the Bulls have to be feeling pretty good about where they stand.
They should, man. Take advantage, Bulls. Take advantage.
Take
baby.
advantage. So their 3 wins come against a combined 4-8 record between Orlando, Atlanta, and Detroit. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
I kind of walked away thinking that the Hawks are going to be okay, though. Like, we were watching the game last night, and Porzingis was sick over the weekend, and of course Porzingis needs to stay healthy.
It's a long season.
But I feel like tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like they skipped him on a couple shifts and played Okongwu a little bit more than maybe you would normally see, just to kind of get him back in the swing.
Yeah.
And he looked pretty sharp. And Trae Young, let's be honest, was dicing us up on the baseline. Like, he had
Trae Young.
He's finding guys. They
Tons
do have
of
players.
assists.
They do have depth. I do think when we look back maybe in a couple months, who knows what the Bulls record's going to be, but maybe we'll look back and be like, that was a good Bulls win beating a Hawks team when it did. I think they're going to be okay.
But that's
I'm
exactly,
looking at it right now.
Yeah, that's exactly
Like
what
that.
it's
Like,
all
yes,
about. Like
that is
every
a
win
good
counts.
win.
I think there's this idea that like
Yes.
the wins at the end of the season matter more than they're all the same. And like obviously you have to accumulate wins where you can to be able to put yourself in good standing for the playoffs or for the play-in, whatever it may be. And I think like a bad start, in the Western Conference, it's way worse. Like a bad start can just completely unravel your entire season.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case in the Eastern Conference. I do think that these teams will be better, but these wins count. And I think they matter, especially as this team is like trying to get off on the right foot and prove that they are onto something, right?
Yeah,
Like I think that there's this
that part.
idea of like momentum from last year. Obviously the play-in happened the way it did, but I think that they internally really believe in what they can do. And when you start 3-0 against 3 teams that people were really talking about as top 4 seeds in the East, that's got to feel good.
Got to feel good, man. And I'm telling you, it does. It feels good to sit there and yell and scream and be happy about my team, man. I haven't been like this for 4 years. Excuse me if this is new to me and I don't know what I'm doing because I don't. But I know how to yell and be excited, and you're going to get a ton of that as long as the Bulls keep these winning ways going, man. It's pretty fun. But shout out to the Sixers, though. Like you said, VJ Edgecombe has been absolutely amazing for them.
Daddy Fish, our guy in the comments saying Edgecombe and Maxey. Wow.
Oh, man.
And Fish also pointing out it has been a weird start to the season. The West looks weird, too. Yeah, like definitely not how I saw the standings a week into the season or how I would have predicted them. We'll see if the Bulls can continue to, use their very specific style of gameplay offensively do what they can defensively to keep beating up on any of these Eastern Conference teams, especially the ones who are missing a guy or brought in some new players and are trying to figure things out early in the season. The Bulls, their identity is solid. They know who they are. They know what brand of basketball they want to play every night. It's just whether or not they can execute it. Through their first 3 games, they have.
Yeah. Kaboom.
Kaboom.
Lowry marking 51 points.
Shout out Lowry. Also, what is that, 450 burgers now in the first week of the season?
Yes.
Way to go,
right.
Lowry.
I think you're right.
17 of 17 from the free throw line on his way to those 51 points.
Toast you
There's
up
your
in
free throw
Baboon.
percentage, Dave.
Oh.
Let's knock out our second ad break. When we come back, we're going to dive into just how much of this 3-0 start is credit to Bulls head coach Billy Donovan and the strings he's been pulling with that rotation. Hit the like if you didn't do it during the first ad break. We'll be right back.
Cedric Coward.
Woo!
Yeah.
Today's show brought to you by Eye on the Ball. Hey, coaches, listen up. If you're looking for more athletes to train, Eye on the Ball is where you need to be. It's simple. Just create your profile, upload your background check, and boom, bada bing,
Bada boom.
you're in. And they're right now offering a new promo for new signups, new coaches who sign up, a free first 6 months, then just $50 a month or $500 for a whole year. Athletes of all ages and all sports can find you directly. And here's the best part. Eye on the Ball doesn't mess with your schedule, your payments, or your business. You are in full control. They just connect you with athletes who are already looking for a coach like you. So if you are ready to grow your coaching business and reach more athletes, go check them out right now at eyeontheball.net. That's IEYE
Right there.
on the ball, .net. The athletes are already out there looking for you.
My pick, what time is it?
Give it hey, Dave.
Oh. Tago in here, and I like it.
Joey with the backup.
Backup Joey. Joey C with the backup. Game Time. They're awesome. They're amazing. Why are they awesome and amazing? Well, 1, because I said so, and I wouldn't lie to you about that. But 2, Zone Deals, ladies and gentlemen. It's an awesome thing. It's where you choose the section and Game Time does the selecting. They got that lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. Trust me, they have got your back on everything, y'all. And, of course, they got those seat views, y'all. And the Game Time ticket coverage comes with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying those NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that go CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase.
Terms apply. Terms apply.
I said CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Swipe, ticket, tap, and go. Download the Game Time app because Joey C.
What's up in the game time?
Whoa. I didn't even ask him.
We back. CHGO Bulls rolling along Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for being here with us, Bulls Nation. Hit that like button if you didn't do it during the ad break. Wanted to quickly, before we dive into Billy, just shout out a couple of our global members of Bulls Nation. Tui Bowl said, I don't know about X Factor for Billy. I just know that I'm not prepared to see the Bulls lose. Hugs from Brazil.
Shout out.
Well, maybe they'll beat Zach DeMar and the Conch tomorrow, and you won't have to worry about that. Also, shout out to Barnakovacs. Do you guys believe now that this roster with 8 to 10 good players can reach the Eastern Conference Finals? Sending love from Hungary. Shout out to you in Hungary. Short answer to your question, yeah. But who knows? They might prove me wrong.
79 left, baby.
Do I believe more so today than before the season started that they could be the 6th seed in an atrocious East? Yeah. Conference Finals? Let's pump the brakes. love y'all from Hungary. Appreciate it.
80 miles an hour. Keep going.
Or, you know, maybe Billy Donovan pulls all the right strings and figures out how to make the Bulls like not just a 39 or 40 win team, but a 45 or 46 win team that goes and makes some noise in the first round series. It's possible.
It is.
And shout out to Billy for this team being 3-0. Because I think for all of the grief he's gotten from Bulls fans who disagree with the way he uses his guys, with his rotations, with his usage of timeouts. There is a laundry list of complaints about Billy Donovan from Bulls fans over the past 5 going on 6 years.
Yeah.
Personally, I've always felt that he is not this team's biggest problem. He is a good coach. I wouldn't call him a great coach. But the buttons he's pushed in these first 3 games, I think, are very much working out.
Absolutely. And I actually think I would call him a great coach. I don't think he's like elite of the elite.
Okay,
but just the way that he's been able to adjust the play style, get the buy-in. I mean, this is a team where Josh Giddey offered to not close the game because of how well his teammate was playing. Like, you don't get that from $100 million guys. You don't get that from, I mean, they certainly, I don't want to like relitigate, old news and stuff, but like, remember when Zach got benched down the stretch against the Orlando Magic a couple years ago? And that was like something that lingered for
Zach
years.
It lingered
like
a hamstring.
The fact that Billy's been able to get this kind of buy-in from guys, I think is pretty incredible. The ability to like go all in on a certain style of play and get them to flip from what it was to what it is now, I think is just, it's been really impressive to watch. And I feel like I've gained even more respect. I've always been very pro Billy, but I just feel like what he's doing right now is not something that a lot of coaches around the league could do. And you see that because as much as players want, or coaches want to, cater to their star players, they can't always do that. They can't always get the team to change their style of play. I do think it helps that you have a young team of guys that are selfless, that are willing to do that. But I think a lot of it is Billy's vision for how this team needs to win and understanding the key areas that they need to improve on. And it's like this game of, well, can you ramp up the pace and not take away from the transition defense? Can you ramp up the drives and get more fouls, but not, lose too many 3-pointers? It's like all these different things that they're trying to calibrate. And I feel like he's really tuned into every single detail when it comes to that. And then on top of it, the relationships piece and ability to connect with the players. And that goes back to the selflessness. So
Yes, sir.
I think Billy's been awesome. And I think the way that he's able to get the players to do what he needs them to do, they all believe it. They all bought into it. And that's why you're seeing the results the way that they are. Is this going to, sustain? I don't know to what degree. I feel more confident in their, like, before the season, I would say that, like, my upside for the team was like 42-40. Like best case scenario, I feel like that's probably raised up a few wins, probably like 46-40, 45-46 wins. That's a big step after just 3 games to feel that kind of a difference. So some of that has to do with the East. I think a lot of it has to do with Billy and the team that he's coaching. So I have a lot of respect, and I always have had that respect, but I think he's just been really good.
Well, and Big Dave, doesn't Billy also deserve a little credit for? I understand that when we talk about like AK and we talk about Billy, they're aligned, they're on the same page, there's continuity throughout that, but still, like, front office and coaching, there's like a separation of church and state there.
Sure.
And doesn't Billy deserve like a little bit of credit if he doesn't get to pick the roster that he necessarily coaches, but he's always talked about the integrity of always being competitive. Yeah. As much as Bulls fans would wish that we've tanked over the last couple of years, and trust me, I am definitely one of them, right? That's not Billy's job. Like, Billy doesn't get to make that decision. He gets to coach the players that he had. Yeah. And now some of these guys have been in-house for a few years. And doesn't Billy at least deserve some of the credit for setting the standard of whoever's on the team, we are going to try and have that integrity of always trying to be competitive? Yeah. At least try and win, even if the results clearly, who knows how high the ceiling is, and that ceiling might be capped.
Without a doubt, he deserves all that credit and praise for that. I mean, also, you can go further, and that's what AK wanted from Billy when he brought him in, was to establish that kind of culture of how this team should play and how they're supposed to play. And Billy is definitely that guy. It doesn't matter, and we talked about it several times on the show, man. Like, Billy's trying to win. like, bro, like he trying to win. He don't care about nothing about playing this rookie or playing this $100 million whoever. Like, who's the best person on the floor that can help me win games, because winning is fun. So, also, I think you also forgot one thing people harped on about Billy Donovan, sir. The gum chewing. Yeah. Can't leave that out.
Shout out to my man Popular Briscoe in the chat just said the fact that 3 games in nobody's mentioning gum chewing shows you that Billy is coaching.
He is coach. He's doing his thing out there. And the other thing that I remember when we were talking about our prove it's, and I said I want Billy to do Hall of Fame stuff. That was my prove it for him, to do Hall of Fame stuff. This is Hall of Fame stuff that you're seeing him do with the coaching. Matt, you definitely brought it up last game. I thought it was a brilliant point of just how he's switching in that rotation. It's just the immediacy of it, and teams not knowing who is out there at what point in time and who they should be guarding.
Run hard, brilliant. Short stints.
Brilliant stuff, man. And you're seeing him doing that and knowing, and it's basically making him this. It's why I said Trey Jones and Billy Donovan are your best 2 players, because Billy knows what this team can and can't do. I heard him talk about it in the press conference when he talked about Trey Jones. He said, I kind of know when Trey Jones gets tired, and I know when he needs a breather, so I'm going to bring him out. Yes, exactly. You know your team. You know their flaws. You know what they do best. You know what they don't do best. You know what you want them to do and what situations to put them in to get the best out of them. And that is exactly what's going on with Billy Donovan on both sides of the floor. He's understanding that. And they're rewarding him, absolutely rewarding him for that, man. He's always been a player's coach. You see that coming into play also, because the young guys definitely rally around him and definitely have a deep love for Billy Donovan, and deservedly so. But he has been that X factor, in my opinion, for the Chicago Bulls, man. Like, he is – I remember I would sit here and say, I want more games where I'm watching Billy out-coach people. Like, I want to see that. Like, I want to see more of that. He's done that. Like, I can point to the other coaches' mistakes as to why they weren't winning these games, especially in the first two. I could definitely point to it, in Detroit, why it didn't happen that way. But while we're watching Billy Donovan, be calm and be cool, we watching our guy in Atlanta, who we lovingly call Meth Dad, just lose his mind. You know what I'm saying? While he's up and down the sideline trying to figure these things out. Like, Billy Donovan has definitely outcoached these other teams in these first three games, man. And that feels great to say, because it is an absolute fact, man. Look at how they're playing. Look at what they're running. Look at the issues that they have. You know what I mean? Like, the defense is an issue, but they're still using it to their advantage because of the continued swarming and, like you said, of the rotations and not knowing who's in there at what time. It's been a great job by Billy Donovan.
And the other thing I would add just real quick is like, I was actually scrolling on YouTube and I saw a short that we posted from like a year ago, and Matt was talking about Patrick Williams and like what was going on with him, and you were kind of like done with the situation, and you didn't have the fear of him turning into a star with another team anymore.
Oh yes, I recall that.
I do remember this.
And the reason you said that is because you weren't confident in the Bulls' ability to develop young players, and that leads me to Billy Donovan again, where yes, I think a lot of it has to do with the players that you have and like whether they're going to make it. A lot of it's on the player, but like you can't sit there and say that Billy did not have a profound impact on Modest Buzelis turning into the player that he is.
Correct.
And the way that he handled that and approached his development last year and this year, and the way that he's kind of brought him along, I think really goes to show that he can develop young players. I think there's also been some swings and misses for sure. I'm not taking that away, but a lot of that's on the player too. And so I think that relationship, that ability to develop is a real feather in his cap.
Yeah. P.T. Soren in the chat saying, my complaint about BD, Billy Donovan, was his inability to insert himself into a bunch of alphas. This current team works well for his style. And, you brought it up with Giddey saying, hey, coach, actually, Io's cooking. Leave him in there. And they're winning against Orlando. And Io also speaking very selflessly about what this team's identity is, the camaraderie, the faith they have in one another. Somebody is still a doubter. Jeremy Moss saying in the chat, I don't like Billy playing 2 point guards at one time. That was a concern for some, myself included, as far as like what happens when Giddey's playing off the ball. Well, hey, good for Giddey. He hit a big three late in the fourth quarter of a tight game last night on a possession where Trey Jones was initiating the offense.
Yeah.
Billy Donovan himself was talking about that. Joey, do we have this clip of Billy Donovan after the win last night talking about the Bulls' success with multiple ball handlers on the floor?
A little bit. For us tonight, it was just trying to find at times different groups. I mean, Sam mentioned it. We ended up going really, really small. I was just trying to find different groups. We get down by, I think, 11 or 12, and they fought their way back. And, I brought Trey back sooner than I would have liked to. I thought he was getting tired. He had that one drive. He kind of fell at the basket, and I can just tell when he gets tired, so I got him off. I think Josh came back in and did a really good job. And then, I came back with Trey and took Kevin off. So, some of these times with these guys are just trying to keep some guys out there that are fresh, that have fresh bodies. And I think that's going to be a thing for us, is we've got to try to use the whole 48 minutes to play the way we're trying to play.
It seems like what you're doing, too, is you're keeping ball handlers out there. Josh with Trey. Is that the idea? You always want to have at least 2, maybe 3. At the end, you had 3 ball handlers.
That's right. Yeah, trying to. I mean, I feel like for our team, because and I think you saw it, some of the switching and stuff, we're winding up, we're trying to go one-on-one. We're just not that kind of team. We got better when we had Vooch with the ball and we were cutting and moving. We had that one swing pass. I think Modest ended up making a 3. We had a lot of really good ball movement. We had some, when we got ahead of the defense and got downhill, but when we were just lined up one-on-one, it was tough. So I think for us to have one ball handler out there that feels like he's got to make all the plays or generate all the offense, it's hard. So I've tried to keep, Modest handles the ball well. Patrick can handle the ball, But, Josh, Trey, Io, like trying to keep 2 or 3 guys out there, I think that's important for us.
So that was Billy after last night's win and talking about not only multiple ball handlers, but just as we were discussing, especially in the fourth quarter last night, switching guys in and out.
Yeah.
Making sure the legs are always fresh so that Billy and his guys can play this style of basketball that kind of gets them a closer playing field against some teams that might have more talent on paper, so to speak. Yeah. And just through 3 games, Vooch is leading this team in minutes per game.
Wow.
Which is kind of hilarious when you think about the team's long-term plans, but whatever. At 32.7 minutes. They have 8 averaging above 22 minutes per game. Vooch, Giddey, Trey are the only 3 playing above 30 minutes per game. Then you got Io at 26.7, Mon is 26.3, Huerter 25.7, Okoro 22.7, Pat Lee Williams 22.7. So, like, that is a good even spread of not playing. Not even that they're not playing Tibbs level minutes of 42 or 43 or 44 in October games. They're not even playing in the high 30s, any of these guys.
That's correct.
Yeah, and I think, like, what's interesting to me about this, I don't want to, like, get it twisted. I do not think this team has, like, championship potential. I think, like, best case scenario, what I mentioned before about, like, 45 wins. I mean,
that's great.
That's, like, I feel like that's kind of where they would top out. So I don't think that this is, like, a team that is, like, on the rise for Eastern Conference Finals or NBA Finals. But I do think that they are building a system that allows them to play and compete with a lot of these teams during the regular season. The point guards thing is where I wanted to circle this back to, because I do think that that's kind of counterintuitive to have 2 like table setter point guards out there who aren't great shooters, Trey and Giddey out there together. That's not something that most teams would do. And I think there's a reason why whoever made that comment was thinking about it, because it's like, why would you do that? Like, why would you have 2 guys that need the ball in their hands and can't really space the floor super well? Why would you want them to play together? And I think with the way that they're trying to play the movement into actions, having multiple ball handlers in case the Bulls are getting picked up full court, that's been happening a lot, is teams are just like trying to play Giddey 94 feet. And so you still have Trey there who can get the ball up the court and into the offense quickly. And I think that's really working for them. It allows them to play to their identity, which allows them to compete with some of these teams. So it's like the downstream effects of all these different things that they're trying to do, I think, are resulting in the outcomes that we're seeing. And even though they are counterintuitive, I think that's what makes Billy good, is that he's willing to experiment and go against the grain of, convention to try these things, and they happen to be working.
Yeah, because I mean, the success hasn't, if you're looking at it just on paper, you're like, on paper, this shouldn't be successful because of what the Bulls, are putting out there on the floor. But like you said, Billy's like, damn your paper. You know what I mean? Like, we don't care nothing about that. I'm going to do what I know and what I believe works. And guess what? It's working out there. So having a Trey Jones and a Josh Giddey out there together, knowing that Josh Giddey has been more off ball when both of those guys are out there, which is, in my opinion, a plus. And Trey Jones being able to set up a half-court offense and slow things down for them, but also getting Giddey the basketball, knowing when it's time to get him that basketball, or when somebody is taking that three-point shot and he knows Giddey is going to crash that board and do his thing like that. Like, all of that being out there is good because Billy is also building up guys as far as getting to know or knowing their teammates. Io talked about it. He was like, if you're playing out there with your brother, of course you're going to pass your brother the ball, right? Like, that's what it is. So it doesn't matter if his brother is a great facilitator or a great shooter. He's got the faith and belief in his brother out there to do the right thing. And Billy is instilling that in these guys. And then it's happening on the floor as well.
And, like, I think those rules would apply to a team that had, like you think of the 2017 Rockets, where it's like James Harden's walking the ball up the court.
Yeah.
And they've got 4 guys spaced around him, and he's either ISO or pick and roll. And, like, if the Bulls were playing that style, yeah, you could not run Trey and Giddey out there together. But since they're playing the way that they are, it does work. And again, I think that's a really creative way to think about how can you make this team with the roster that he's given successful. And I think that creativity and that just like ingenuity, I think, is really important.
Come on, go.
Woo! Thomas Bank in the chat saying, I think the reason why 2-point guards work is because of the trust they build with each other. They both are willing to pass and kick out as well as attack the rim. And that goes back to the stat I brought up from our pal Ricky's column for SB Nation about the Bulls passing out of drives 45.3% of the time this season, which is the second highest rate of passing out of your drives in the entire league. So Just backcourt, Dave.
Yeah.
A lot of options.
Nice
A lot of
segue
people in the
into
chat pointing out, like, hey, wait till we get Kobe back.
Yeah.
Kobe White.
Yeah.
Not here. Bulls are 3-0, and they're getting a lot of really quality backcourt play, even in the absence of Kobe White.
Yeah.
How are you trying to best wrap your mind around this?
Oh, man. It's hard to try to wrap, but I'm enjoying it because it's coming with winning.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways to do it is success. Like, that makes it easy, right? It makes it very simple when it's working, no matter if you think or you're trying to figure out how it should be or shouldn't be. The fact is the results are what they are.
Right. Nobody's complaining about coaches' rotations if the team is winning.
Come on. You know what I mean? That is the rules. You know what I mean? Yeah, but you didn't have this guy here. Yeah, you over there. Sit down. No Michelob Ultra for you. All right? Go have a seat. But Ayo has just been outstanding, with it and how he has played. And I love what he had to say in the post game, Joe. If we could play that video of Ayo Dosunmu and what he had to say, talking about also having those multiple ball handlers on the floor.
Chicago's own.
Chicago's own, baby. Ayo. His name is Ayo Dosunmu.
Team and what's that meant for you guys? I think it means a lot for the team because it keeps everyone in rhythm. We're not stopping the ball. We keeping the ball moving. We making quick reads. If we've been told if you open, shoot it. If not, get downhill. They collapse, kick it. And we've been just doing that at a high level, and there's still ways we can get better. Like I stated earlier, I think the challenge of becoming a good team and wanting to be a good team is the consistency. So that's about doing it over and over again. When you get success, how can you continue to stay true to your core values to be able to take that next step? And I think that's going to be the next challenge for us, doing it again. I believe we have Sacramento coming in here Wednesday, and we have to be able to take that next step and do it all over again.
So I love that because he's talking, one, about consistency. We know we've done it, but we need to continue doing it. But also just about getting the ball up the floor and moving. And one thing about Ayo, man, he's getting the ball up the floor and he's going. So knowing that Billy is championing these things and also saying if you're open, shoot it. It doesn't matter which one of you all take the shot. If you're open, shoot it. That's really, like I've been saying, and again, it's not a diss, but it's a really good college basketball mentality and college basketball team style that they're playing out there, man. It doesn't matter who's on top. It doesn't matter who's getting the 20 points a night. Fine, it's Ayo tonight. Fine, it's Vooch the next night. Fine, it's Giddey the next night. We're just trying to win, and they understand who they are, and that is a great feeling just in general on the floor and in life. Knowing who you are, you do things that you can do, and you believe in yourself a little bit more, man. So that he's speaking a lot about that belief with his team, and I know you in that locker room hearing video from Will the Go Gottlieb. So it's just great to hear him though talk like that and say these things, man. And it just really excites me.
Remember who you are.
Shout
out, Mufasa.
It's a great thing, man. But and I forgot about the other young man.
Yes, sir.
Josh Giddey.
Oh, yeah.
Also part of that backcourt
He's Gideon.
success. He is Gideon up and down that floor. Also, he had something to say in a video as well. If my main man, Joey C, because C is for Craggy.
Was he wearing
Can't
fur
keep that
in
up.
the locker room last night?
He was not wearing fur in this one.
Not an everyday thing.
Not an everyday. Fur isn't an everyday thing, but we'll see as it gets colder what he continues to pull out because, man, all right, supervillain was in the house. But here goes Josh Giddey talking about team success and also being comfortable, after getting that contract signed.
Having that role solidified after a year, you understand what needs to be done. And I think coming here my first year, I was, I've said it before, but I didn't want to step on any toes. I wanted to just fit in and kind of fly under the radar. But, this year I think, I look around this locker room and I really believe in this group and the guys that we have. And I think, I wanted to take a step forward in that leadership role. So, trying to use my voice more, especially as a point guard, you have to be an extension of Billy out there on the floor. So trying to communicate with him during games. And, it's been a good start for us as a group, but as I said, long season ahead, 79 more games, so this has to be a regular thing, and we can't pick and choose, when we want to play that way.
Do you feel like it reinforces, though? I mean, you guys finished obviously strong last year. These are three really good teams we were excited about. Do you feel like that reinforces that, like how you guys finished was for real, and the kind of confidence that you have in yourselves is real? Yeah,
I mean, we always believed, we never kind of worried about the outside noise, and I know people talk about that kind of March run, and teams are tanking, and teams are not playing their best guys, and whatever, and we never looked at it that way. We played some really, really good teams down the stretch last year, and we had a really good training camp. Practices have been really good. Even days where it's a bit lighter, I think mentally everyone's been really locked in. So you have to keep doing the right things. As I said, long season ahead. We played 3 games, but it's a really positive start. But there's also a lot of things we need to get better at, which is exciting as well.
You mentioned Dyson. Did you have to put your friend in the spin?
That was encouraging. I also like that he ended with there's still things we got to get better at.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, with our various minuses. So I think it's good that Giddey is clear about what's working right now, team effort wise, and the fact that they still have some things that they can clean up. Like this is not, we haven't seen their best yet.
Yes, correct. We have not seen their best, but what we've seen it has been good, and we've talked a lot on this show just about this backcourt success and what it's been. So I wanted to look into it a little bit and see about that success because, like you said, Matt, the one thing I was up screaming yesterday when I was standing next to Joey C.
Who's it going to be?
Who's it going to be? Who's going to be the guy? Who's going to take it home for us in this one? So it got me to wondering. I wanted to see what the Bulls' backcourt scoring is by quarter.
Okay.
It kind of fascinated me just to know what that is. Who's setting the tone and who's finishing the game.
Okay.
So, Joey C., you can drop that on him one time, sir. So you can see what the tone is being set in that first quarter by guys like Josh Giddey and Kevin Huerter, both averaging those 6.3 points a game. And Giddey continuing that, in that second quarter with that 4.7. But also that's when Dosunmu comes in.
Yep.
And he starts making his impact because we saw that in the preseason. When Ayo comes in, guess what? We pick it up a little bit more. And you can see that with the 4 points he's averaging. My favorite one, though, is that third quarter. Because when that third quarter, that's when the salve comes out, ladies and gentlemen.
Baby.
It is Trey Jones' time. 6 points he is averaging in the third quarter. That is setting the tone and setting the tone. We're running these teams out of here because he's like, nope, I got this. Don't even worry about this. I am putting that salve on. And you remember that 5-0 run that he went on in that game against Detroit when they tried to make their run in that third quarter.
Yep.
And Sal was like, nope, absolutely not. And then I'm going to throw an assist to Vooch, too, and let him hit this 3 to go on our own 8-0 run. And then, of course, like I said, who in the fourth quarter is the guy? Who is going to close it out? Who's going to win that game? Well, according to these numbers, it's going to be Dosunmu. It's going to be Dosunmu, dog.
Closer.
And if you remember, he was hitting some huge buckets in that game last game and the previous one before.
Last night.
Massive. And I don't want to disrespect Josh Giddey and what he's doing also in that fourth quarter, man. So you see the backcourt success that they're having has just been absolutely awesome. And that asterisk.
Yeah, what's the asterisk with Trey Jones?
The asterisk, sir, I'm so glad you asked me this, with Trey Jones, because I was looking at that and I was like, 1.7, but he's doing it in the third quarter with the 6. Then he's out there a lot then. Obviously, he's not going to be out there for scoring. What else is Trey Jones going to give you?
Did you look at his assist numbers in the fourth
Not
quarter?
the assist numbers, sir. What you do on the other side of the floor.
Ooh, okay.
Because I know what Trey Jones does as far as steals are concerned. Here's Trey Jones' steals by quarter. 0.7, 0.3, 0.7, 1.7. He is almost averaging 2 steals in the fourth quarter. Per fourth quarter.
That's nuts.
That is awesome, man. And he's averaging 3.3 steals a game. But that fourth quarter, when they got to have it, that's when the defense starts clamping up for him, man. And he's taking that ball and getting it to guys like Ayo, getting it to guys like Giddey, where they can go down and they can score. So Trey Jones, again, like I said, in my opinion, has been the Bulls' best player on both sides of the floor.
And
That
I
is
think
fascinating.
the assist that you mentioned, Matt, I think is a big one too, because he's been running almost all the offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of screen and roll with Vooch, a lot of really good plays out of that. And whether it's, finding Vooch on the short roll and then Vooch is kicking it out to Ayo for a 3, like we've seen that a bunch. It's like he's the one that's generating the play. He's the one that's initiating everything. And so whether he gets credited with an assist or not, he's the one that is running the show.
Yes.
And I think 1.7 points does not really tell me everything that I need to know about how well Trey Jones is playing in the fourth quarter.
Boom.
It is by committee right now in these 3 wins, and you love to see it. It's also a fun brand of basketball to watch.
Yeah.
They're playing fast. The ball never sticks. They're moving, and as a lot of people in the chat have been talking about, the Kobe White part of this equation, and when hopefully he comes back soon, what his presence does, not only in the starting lineup, but as far as who's running your half-court sets in the fourth quarter of a tight game, where does Kobe fit into that picture?
Yeah.
And how well will he fit in right away? Will it take some time? Will it take adjusting from Kobe and his teammates? Because right now it's very clear, whether it's Giddey, Ayo, Billy Donovan, or anybody else talking about it, they all know what the game plan is, and they are all bought into it.
Yeah, and running your team like this, Matt, is you develop that chemistry. And, you know, with those guys that are out there with you doing it like that. So you're curious to see when Kobe gets back, what's that going to do? I don't even want to use the word interrupted, but what can he add to it and what can change about it? I'm very curious in seeing, man, because winning is the best chemistry ever.
True.
All right?
True. All right, we'll stop the conversation there for today.
Oh.
We will be back tomorrow for a live pregame before Bulls Kongs. Zach and Demar back in the house. Goat will be at the Madhouse.
Flex.
Make sure you're following him, Will_Gottlieb, for all of his updates tomorrow, before and during and after the game. Big Dave and I will be here. Joey, you rocking with us tomorrow? Let's go.
Joey C. Also,
Shout out.
want to give a big shout out. And again, make sure you're reading that article that Will the Goat Gottlieb is writing, but especially the article he wrote on Dosunmu.
Dropped it in the chat. Check it out.
And Joey C is on it, man. Make sure you guys are checking out that article. This man is an awesome, awesome writer.
Become a diehard if you aren't already, so that you can read all of Goat's incredible writing. allchgo.com. Follow him, Will_Gottlieb, Big Dave, BNWS Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Shout out to our guy on the controls, the king, Joey C.
He's a prince.
We'll be back tomorrow, 6:30 Central Time. Live pregame coming at you. Have a great night. We'll talk to you then. Hit the like on your way out. See you, Red. Be good.
Love y'all. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.